Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So Shelley, how many board members do we have in attendance tonight? Or should we have?
We should have 6, but we have 5.
So are we waiting on the 6th? Or who are we missing?
We're missing Rieger.
Okay. We'll give him a couple more minutes just in case he's late joining. All right, I will give him one more minute. All right, I guess we will go ahead and get started. And if he joins, we'll revisit how many members we have. I call the Board of Adjustments and Appeals meeting to order. Ms. Warwick, could you please take the roll?
Mr. Rieger? Ms. Schmitz?
She's on mute, but she's
Sorry,
raising her
I'm
hand.
here. I have to get to my screen.
Mr. Friesen?
Present.
Mr. Thompson?
Present.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Ms. Hoffman? Chair Finn?
Here. So presently there are 5 present members. Therefore, 4 affirmative votes are required to grant a variance or appeal. I need to have a motion and a second for the approval of minutes from December 9th, 2020.
I move to approve those minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We're going to do a voice vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so those minutes have been approved. So I have a approval for finding of fact, case VAR 2020-008, 2925 South Bannock Street. I need a motion and a second.
I move to
Move
approve.
Second.
I move to approve the findings of fact for case VAR 2020-008 for 2925 South Bannock Street.
Perfect. Randy, I'd take it you're with a second.
Sure.
All right. Voice vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, no one opposed. Finding of fact for VAR 008 2925 South Bannock passes. Case VAR 2020-011 2880 South Corona Street. I need a motion and a second.
Move to approve the findings of fact for case VAR 2020-011 for 2880 South Corona Street.
A second.
I will second.
All right, we have a motion and a second, voice vote. All in favor of approval, finding a fact for VAR 2020-011, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, those pass. We still do not have Mr. Rieger. So again, there's 5 present, 4 votes are required. Affirmative votes are required to grant a variance or appeal. The board is authorized to grant or deny a variance by Part 3, Section 60 of the Englewood City Charter. Anyone aggrieved by a decision rendered by this board may appeal that decision to a court of record. However, such appeal must be made within 30 days of the board's decision. Any approved variance is effective at the end of the appeal period. Building permits for construction associated with an approved variance will not be issued until the appeal period is ended. Building permits must be obtained and construction begin with 180 days of the variance's effective date. Procedure for the meeting is that the case will be introduced. An overview will be given by staff. Applicant will present their request and reasons the variance should be granted. Proponents will be given an opportunity to speak. Opponents will address the board if present, and if needed, staff will address the board again. So I will open case number VAR 2020-010, David and Abbey Dwyer. The variance is to encroach 4 foot into the side setback and approximately 18 feet into the front setback to construct a detached carport. This case is now open. Staff, if you could get sworn in and give us an overview. Oh, yep. I think, Shelley, you're muted. I can't hear you.
I'm ready
I was
whenever
just-
you are, Shelley.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
so I couldn't-
Sorry.
I had my hand all ready and everything.
I couldn't see Will, so I was looking for him. Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that you will tell the truth in this proceeding before the Board of Adjustment and Appeals?
I do.
State your name, please.
Will Charles.
Real
Good
quick,
evening, everybody.
Yep. Staff, did you send out the verification of publication of posting?
We did this morning.
Okay. Did everyone get that?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. We have that on record. Go ahead, staff.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Yeah, so as stated, this is for 4831 South Jason Street. This property is located kind of in the southwest region of the city, pretty close to Bellevue Park. It's located in the R1A zone district. The property in question is about a 9,398 square foot parcel with a existing 1,000, maybe about 1,100 square foot single family residence located on the property. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to sharing my screen to go through a little PowerPoint real quick. Let me pull this up. Can everyone see that? Perfect.
Yes.
All right. So let's go ahead and go into the next slide. So as I was saying, this is located on South Jason Street. It's approximately about 11,000 square foot house. Currently, it has an existing driveway on the front of the property. That's approximately about 2 feet from the north side property line. And then for the property itself, it has a pretty significant grade change from front to back. If you remember a variance that we had a few months ago, I think 1 or 2 months ago, for the neighbor, they had the kind of a sunken in garage to kind of give you an idea of the grade change that is on this street itself. As far as the variance that they are proposing, they are wanting to do a carport that would allow access off of this existing driveway so that they could access from the street with this carport rather than having something off of the alley on the back side of the property. As far as the variance, for all variances, they are required to meet the 4 criteria. The first criterion being that unique physical conditions exist, such as size, shape, location, topography, or surroundings that are peculiar to the land or structure involved, which deprive the applicant of privileges enjoyed by other properties in the vicinity. Staff found that this property is unique based on 1 being the grade change that is on this property, but 2 being the location of this existing driveway. From the owners, with discussions with the owners, it seems that it would be very difficult for them to put the carport any further back onto the property because of this grade change. So that's why they're kind of wanting this front side variance. And then for the side setback variance, it would be requested because of where that existing driveway is currently. The second criteria is that a variance is consistent with the intent of the zone district regulations to secure public health, safety, and welfare. Staff did not find any issues with the variance in keeping with public health, safety, or welfare. The third criterion is that the variance does not permanently impair the use or development of adjacent conforming properties or alter the essential character of the neighborhood. As shown in this slide, they've secured neighbor notifications from all those surrounding this property. And then as well, this area is all developed single family residential houses that all have a pretty significant distance between the property line and the back of the walk. I believe in the applicant's letter that they wrote, I believe it's something about like 20 feet between the back of the walk and where the property line is on these properties. And I'll have to check on that in just a second, but it is a pretty significant distance between those 2 lines. Then the fourth criterion is that this is not a self-imposed difficulty or hardship. Staff found that the location of the existing driveway along with the slope change on this property make this not a self-imposed difficulty or hardship. For these reasons, staff would recommend approval of the variance. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for staff at this time?
And I'll go ahead and get off this just so we can see everybody. And then if you need me to come back, let me know.
Okay. All right. I don't see any questions for staff. So if the applicant could please come forward to testify in the case, and you'll be sworn in by the secretary. Please state your name and address, and the secretary will administer the oath.
Yes, David Dwyer, present.
Do you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that you will tell the truth in this proceeding before the Board of Adjustment and Appeals?
I will.
Please state your name and address.
My name is David Dwyer, and I am the owner of 4831 South Jason Street.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Dwyer. So we got your packet, but if there's anything high points you'd like to hit, or if there's anything that's not in your packet but you'd like us to consider, now would be the time to state.
Just want to make sure when we gave you the packet, we also had provided photographs of the style of carport that we wanted to build, and that was what we gave to the neighbors and the surrounding houses. They liked it, and they, approved, or they agreed to what we were proposing.
I am not sure we received those photographs.
Okay, they may have been attached to the plan sheet or to the permit, the variance application, possibly. But it's a timber style carport, not like a pole tent canvas thing. I think other than that, when Will was explaining where the property line is, we didn't know that when we first applied for the variance, but the city right of way or the property line is actually, like, as he said, it's about 15 feet in our front yard, behind the curb or behind the sidewalk.
So that would be, so from the sidewalk, it's about, you said the property line's about 15 feet from the sidewalk or the curb?
Correct, 15 feet into the front yard. So we were not aware of the front property encroachment. We had anticipated being able to put the carport up, fully within the boundary and the setback, but we didn't realize that the property line was so far into the front yard.
Okay, I understand now.
And that was the reason for the second variance.
Actually, it does look like there's a couple pictures that depict that in about the last page of the document that was sent out, the PDF.
And it's probably worth noting also the slope that Mr. Charles had mentioned, that begins immediately behind the white fence at the existing driveway. And it's a drastic slope to the backyard. It's about 12 feet over a 30-foot distance.
I believe you have a garage behind there, is that correct?
Yes, there is a garage on the rear of the property. It is not attached to the house, and it is on the low end. And again, that is only alleyway access as well. We do not have as you're probably aware, we don't have paved alleyways in this division. All of the trash pickups and everything are required through the front street access.
We can't hear you, Tom, if you're talking.
I was, and it was very smart what I was saying. Are there any other questions from the board for the applicant at this point?
Yeah, did you investigate at all what it would take to fill in the portion to bring the carport back to comply potentially with the front setback?
I did not, for several reasons. There is, that is where the air conditioning unit is, immediately behind the fence. We've also got a deck that is on the backside of that fence and a window from in the basement where it looks out to the lower portion of the yard. So that would have had to have been filled in and completely covered.
Okay.
And probably structurally modified as well.
Do you know what the distance is from the property line to your house currently?
I believe it's 25 feet.
Any other questions for the applicant at this point? All right, Mr. Dwyer, I think for the time being, that is it. Are there Shelley, do we know if there's any persons present to speak in favor of this request?
Tom, this is Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
Happy New Year forward. There is no one here at the Civic Center that wishes to speak.
And there's no one for or against? I'll save you another visit.
No. No one.
Perfect. Perfect. So there's no one present to speak in favor or opposition. Staff, any additional comments?
Not unless you have any further questions.
I have a question. So even if the carport is attached, that doesn't matter for this, right?
No, it does
Right.
not.
So the setback would be the same. So if it was attached, it would be considered part of the principal structure, which would make it 25 feet. If it's detached, the code says it's a 25-foot setback. So it'd be the same regardless. It'd actually be a more severe variance on the side setback though, if it was attached.
What would be the side setback if it was attached? Just
Um,
curious.
If it was attached, it would be a, I think this property is 74 feet wide. So it would be it'd be a 5-foot setback on the side.
And isn't that what we're at?
I know that
now?
is, you're right, sorry.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
just
this is the only zone district where the attached or detached structures are 5 instead of 3.
this is not a quiz.
Yeah. I'm not doing very well if it is.
Any other questions for staff from the board at this point?
Is this an unusual situation to have the front property line so far back from the sidewalk?
I definitely have not seen very many that are that big. There's some areas like I feel like in the northeastern part of the city where it's all these R1As. I don't know if it's maybe just the streets are smaller, where the right of ways are still the same size, but the actual street itself is smaller or something. But R1As are kind of the only ones where I've seen it where they're this significant of a front distance.
Okay.
And staff, I have a question for you. So I know that we're rewriting parts of the code right now.
Mhm.
Is there anything that's been discussed about anything that might pertain to this case about being rewritten?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for staff at this time? I see that we do not have any other questions. Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Thank you.
So the public hearing is now closed. I need a motion and a second for discussion, please.
I'll go. Okay. I move,
I will accept your motion on the condition that when we vote, it does not go to Ms. Schmidt first.
Got it.
I'll move. I won't reason. Okay. I move that a variance to encroach 4 feet into the side setback and approximately 18 feet into the front setback to construct a detached carport is approved for the property at 4831 South Jason Street, Inglewood. This is the variance to table 16-6-1.2 of the Inglewood Municipal Code.
I need a second.
Second.
We have a second. Discussion.
It seems like a precedence-setting carport. I mean, I don't know of any place else around that comes that far out into a front setback. So I've got some heartburn about that. I just think it's changing the intent of pretty much everything there. We'd have to improve all sorts of things if we essentially allow a 5-foot setback, front setback. I don't know how that ties into the criterion particularly, other than it's not consistent with the zone district anywhere.
So help me out, everybody. What's odd about this lot is the property line is back and there's slope in the back. No?
Up on the side too, yeah.
That is correct.
I mean, yeah, I that's where my struggle is too. Normally, it feels like our struggle is with criterion 1 about unique physical conditions. We've got those with this front lot line being back and with the grade,
Okay.
but I am struggling with, I think it's the third criterion as well about the character of this zone district and putting a carport out so much further than the rest of the structures along in this zone district.
I would also say that all those properties along there have the slope. You know, I mean, I'm not sure it's really unique to, it would be unique to my property where I'm on a flat piece of land, but everything along that street, pretty much from north to south, has the same slope issues.
Randy, do you see any distinction between the variance and the front setback variance? Or is that what you were saying? Or like, do you see one as justified and the other not, or you have the same view for both?
You're asking me or Brendan?
I think Randy or Brendan.
Yeah. I think, yeah, to me, I think it's too close to the front property line. So that's what I have the biggest objection to. The side, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it doesn't really allow much more width than that but they have lots of width to begin with that smaller lots don't have.
I actually struggled with the first criterion related to the side setback request, that just the fact that there's an existing driveway there, that didn't seem as unique of a physical condition to me as if there was something else more structurally or with the lot itself.
I'm trying to think. So when we've continued lines of things, it's generally not something new. It's replacing something that needs replacing. Sometimes we've gone up second floors that have kept the same lines. Is this similar or different from those?
Yeah, to me, it's different for the simple sake that I think usually when we continue the same lines, it's a structure. Where here,
Okay.
I think the only line we're trying to continue is the driveway.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, because since it's unattached, I mean, they're putting it where the driveway is existing. I mean, I would have, you know, I mean, I understand that the garage is at the back, but I have I think a bigger problem with the side setback than the front. And just kind of the carport, again, I'm not sure it fits into kind of the general aesthetics that are there.
I guess my point is if we allow this carport here, we're gonna have to allow one for every house in Inglewood. Because I don't really see any difference.
Yeah, I struggled with this one, but I think I agree with you. I have a hard time figuring it out. I mean, if they didn't have access to the alley, I think that changes stuff, but I mean, there's a garage in the back. There's other things you could do possibly.
I know I was
Any other-
looking at the neighborhood notification map photograph that we have, and within, I know it's a small parameter, but within that parameter, it doesn't appear there's any carports. So just like Randall was saying, it would be setting a precedent.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see any in the photo either. Any other discussion, or do we vote at this point? I don't see any other discussion. Secretary, Ms. Warwick, if we could do the vote call.
Mr. Taylor,
I voted no. While the first criterion may be met in regards to unique physical conditions with the slope and the the property line along the east side of the lot, I could not see that the third criterion could be met, that this would impair or alter the essential character of the neighborhood.
Mr. Thompson,
I concur with Andy that it's the third criteria that it just doesn't meet.
Mr. Friesen,
I also agree with Mr. Taylor. I don't really think it's a unique condition given the street or that particular zone of Inglewood. And I also think it will be altering the character of the neighborhood.
Ms. Schmitz,
I vote no for the reasons stated.
Chair Finn,
I also voted no for the reasons stated.
motion fails 0-4.
So this case is closed. Staff's choice, Mr. Charles.
I don't have anything further to add. I don't believe we have any cases coming next month unless, Shelley, you've heard of any.
We do not.
Other than that, that's it.
That is not a bad thing to hear. Dugan, if you're actually online, do you have anything for us?
I do not. I would love to just add to the loquaciousness of our meeting tonight, but I just don't have anything to provide.
I think, Dugan, we need to check in on the hair and beard.
Right, am I catching us? Am I catching you?
Okay,
Oh, here. All right.
Very good, very good. Thank you.
I still have hair. I still have a beard. Well, I have a goatee. I don't really have a beard.
Okay.
Okay.
No one commented. I got mine trimmed up.
Board's choice. Anything from the board this evening? All right. Again, I thank everyone for their time and their effort. We will perhaps see you in about 60 days. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, thanks.
See ya.
Bye-bye.